You know, they're selling you all wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I back. Trust me, I back.
But I'm not impressed by your performance.
You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing. Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Not one of you will do nothing.
I'll tell you what, bro. You know, I was out there, I was fighting all the hitters, bro. You ain't fought no hitters.
Come on, guys. It's normal.
I'm not saying I would fight you. I would kill you.
John, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John? I mean, really?
No, don't be scared, homie.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize. Absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the fuck he wants.
I'm gonna beat you into the living death. I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, you know, people like that get slapped.
That's fucking
Next year, you just shook up the world. How's that feel?
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Yeah, this is a simulated death match. And you haven't simulated anybody's death yet.
I said it last year. We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
What is the game plan going in against him?
The game plan is you go in there, hit him with some good shit, don't get hit, and come home with a pocket full of cash.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing.
Do you want to be a fighter? That is my question.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show where me, Matt the Hipster, discusses all things boxing, MMA, and everything in between. Live on YouTube, 10 p.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Obviously, podcast forum, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. I got to give it to Louis in the chat already because he's already sending shots out to me. It happens, and it's pretty funny. I'll give it that. Louis saying, I switch off after the intro. Best bit. Damn. That hurts. But you know what else doesn't hurt? These new shirts. Yeah.
I want smoke.
Yes. All of you on Patreon are getting one of these or another shirt in a different color. I know some of you wanted hats, but to be honest, hats are quite expensive. So again, patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Join up. If you're listening right now and you're not on Patreon and you're one of those loyal listeners, go donate $1. It helps. Go donate 2, 3, whatever. You get that extra podcast a week. And whenever we do have a new clothing line releasing, which the hats will be coming out probably in a few months. Before Christmas for sure, but not anytime soon. And who's ever on Patreon at that time will get a free one, just like anyone on Patreon now will get a free shirt. So salute to everyone there. And there will also be a new tier for merchandise as well, so keep an eye out for that. I'm just sort of working out the price. But yes, new shirt. If you listen on podcast form right now, you're thinking, I don't give a fuck about the shirts, Matt. Let's get to boxing. I know, I'm sorry, but these shirts are nice. And if you've been listening, or I should say, have you been watching on YouTube for as long as you know I've been on radio and etc., you know I'm a guy that likes a white tee with a black hat. I've been in that like mode for a minute now. Louis saying hoodies will be sick. Yes, hoodies are probably the next one after hats. I really want a hat, to be honest. I'm just going to figure out a new, not new logo design, but a new logo color scheme. But again, that's a lot of housekeeping out of the way. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Again, patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Remember, all of you guys on Patreon and ladies are getting a free shirt. And if you haven't already, there is a message in your inbox on Patreon. Go there, email me, or I should say, message me back there your address. I can start shipping these out because that's what I want to do immediately because you guys have been awesome there on Patreon. But digressing, getting all that stuff out of the way. And remember, guys, we will be live, obviously, on Saturday for a live fight chat and a media reaction. I don't know how I'm going to break it down. I need to look at the schedule again, but hopefully I will do 2 separate live fight chats for obviously maybe the main event of the UFC 228 card, and obviously Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter. Definitely want to do one for that, and hopefully Santiago will be in studio for that one. But again, getting all that out of the way. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. This is going to be a little bit of, in terms of the main topic of the show, a retread from yesterday. And I know you might, maybe if you didn't listen to yesterday, you're thinking, awesome, because I didn't listen yesterday, or maybe you didn't listen to the whole show. And again, this news broke late in the show, so I did talk about it briefly. However, it's been now confirmed by Frank Warren. At least parts of it have been confirmed. So let's get into it, because Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, purse information, purse split, all that is seemingly coming out, and it's quite interesting. First, obviously, the Daily Mail broke yesterday, towards the end of our show, that Las Vegas was going to be the stage of the Tyson Fury-Deontay Wilder fight in December, specifically December. That, to me, wasn't really the news. It being in Las Vegas was kind of already one of the worst-kept secrets in boxing. Definitely can't wait to get to another worst-kept secret in boxing later in the show, speaking of Crawford. But the purse information, to me, is the news. That, to me, is obviously where I think the discussion should be, if there is any discussion to be had. And per this article in the Daily Mail, and maybe if you've read it, you might have skipped over that very beginning part at the top with all these bullet points. But it says the pair will split the purse 50-50 and take home around $20 million each. So we're talking about a $40 million purse split, $40 million pot, split 50-50, $20 million each. And on top of that, today, per Frank Warren himself going to BBC Sports Radio, saying that the 50-50 part of the deal is true. That is 50-50. So in my mind, that basically all but confirms the $40 million part of it. And the fact that Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are making $20 million each, potentially guaranteed. Again, this is probably more information we need to find out. And on top of that, Wilder is only going to get $15 million against Anthony Joshua. I mean, it seems like Deontay Wilder has, maneuvered his way to a bigger bag with a lesser opponent when few thought he could do that. So, first off, salute to him. I don't think, you have to admit, any of you guys out there in the UK that are big, AJ fans, or just you don't like Deontay Wilder, you don't like Shelly Finkel, whatever, you have to admit, this is savvy business. This is something that Mayweather would have done, right? I know that might be a little bit of a hot take, but this is Mayweather-like. To go and get a fight that wasn't expected for more money against a less difficult opponent, all while you are seemingly the good guy here. Like right now, let's be honest here. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are in control of the public narrative in the entire heavyweight division. They just are. Regardless if you're an AJ fan or Eddie Hearn fan or whatever, you have to admit that they seem to be in the driver's seat here. And on top of now, this news, damn, nails in the coffin. It's going to be interesting to see, obviously, if all of the news is confirmed, because again, that particular $40 million, $20 million per fighter is not confirmed. I'm going to assume it is, again, just based off of what Frank Warren has alluded to. And again, go check out the BBC radio interview. I didn't want to soundbite it just because BBC is weird sometimes with copyrights. Like on social media, they're kind of weird about copyrights. So I didn't want to fuck around on YouTube with it. But go check it out. Again, I think this is fun. Like, again, in the terms of battling for PR and public narrative, if you've been listening to the show, I love that shit. I nerd out to that. And this sort of checkmate move that is really, again, a big FU to AJ and Eddie Hearn. God, salute to them. Salute to Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder collecting the bag and sort of staying true to the tenets of prize fighting, let's be completely honest. But let me say Frank Warren's exact words before we move off this topic. And again, according to BBC Radio 5 Live, it's 50-50 per split, quick and smooth negotiations. He was the world champion. He's undefeated. Wilder and his team understood that. All of the terms are agreed. We're working at the moment on the date and the venue. We have another unification match with Josh Lawrence and Carl Frampton. We don't want to clash on those two dates. One of those fights would be in November, one would be in December. Blah, blah, blah. Similar to the Spence Garcia talk. It's going to be interesting to see, again, when we get that final confirmation. I've been hearing Vegas, that they're going to wait for next week when every boxing media personality in the world is going to be in Vegas, and they're going to announce it then. I believe even Deontay Wilder said that much as well. I forget the exact article. Here it is. Nope, no, that's not it. Yep. Anyways, I believe Wilder alluded to when we get to Vegas, we're gonna announce it basically. Gonna be interesting to see, of course, how this all pans out. But again, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, $40 million pot, split 50-50, $20 million each. Leave a comment below what you think about that. Call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. I'm going to say it again, 323-870-4051. It's the number right below on the screen in the bottom right-hand corner. But let's move on to more news of the day and news that are broke. And again, sort of the worst-kept secret in boxing, which was Terence Crawford versus Jose Benavidez, finalized for October 13th. Again, we've known this. This has been alluded to. They've had words in the media before. Like, this has been talked about by Bob Arum. This is, again, one of the worst-kept secrets in boxing. We're going to get to more of those, I think, later today. And on top of this, Terence Crawford inks new multi-year deal with Top Rank. Little is known in terms of the details of the deal, obviously, but that's usual. That's industry norm at this point, let's be honest. But yes, Terence Crawford, now seemingly a huge centerpiece to Top Rank for the future, has been, I feel like, pushed by ESPN decently. I'm not going to say he's been, pushed by ESPN like no other. Like, he's the centerpiece of ESPN boxing. I wouldn't say that just yet, but he's obviously one of their figureheads right now, or one of their stars. So they're gonna put marketing dollars around him. He is an investment. He is a guy that, in theory, if he goes out there and starts beating, the Danny Garcia, Sean Porter's, Keith Thurman's, Earl Spence of the world, does he become a star? I don't know. But he is sort of their guy. They have to sort of circle the wagons around him, and that sort of cash cow division of welterweight, let's be honest. Besides, heavyweight, welterweight traditionally has always been the more monetarily lucrative division, even above middleweight, I would say. But maybe some boxing historians might disagree with me on that in terms of middleweight versus welterweight, but I feel like I'm pretty safely assured it's heavyweight than welterweight. But anyways, Terence Crawford, again, fighting Jose Benavidez. What do I have to say about that? It's going to be an easy fight for Terence Crawford. He's going to whoop his ass from pillar to post, and it's going to be one of those fights we go on and say, oh, wow, Terence Crawford is just levels above those top 15 guys. He is. We've seen what he does to top 10 and top 15, and even borderline top 5 guys at 140 and at 147 now. He is a guy that needs to be tested, and Jose Benavidez, and let's be honest, in all purposes, is not going to be the one to test him. And on top of that, it's weird the public perception of Jose Benavidez and how much it's changed. I know that's probably more of a rabbit hole, but it wasn't long ago where Jose Benavidez was the guy with all the potential, and David Benavidez was the overweight brother who was undedicated to the sport. Had all this natural talent, but was undedicated. Jose Benavidez was. And now, years later, situations outside the ring involved, it's unfortunately led to David Benavidez now being a world champion, and Jose Benavidez now seemingly thrown in with a wood chipper that is Terence Crawford. And again, October 13th is that fight. ESPN, I'm interested to see obviously what happens next. Similar to, let's say, Lomachenko versus Pedraza. We know what happens there. It's all about what happens next that we're interested in. But let's move on to some more news of the day. Speaking of Terence Crawford and its old stomping grounds, 140. Prograis versus Flanagan is completely official for New Orleans, October 27th. I love that. I absolutely love that they're putting Prograis versus Terry Flanagan in New Orleans. It's similar to like Atlanta. It's a market, in my opinion, that is so underutilized. It's a sporting culture as well there that you can tap into. And Prograis, being from the area, being so multicultural in the way he approaches the game and just his overall brand, he is built for that market. And, I think, again, Flanagan, even though I respect his game, he lost to Maurice Hooker in a fight we all thought he would win. Prograis, let's all be honest here, is probably levels above Maurice Hooker. So I don't expect Flanagan to have much success in this fight. I don't expect him to win maybe a round or two. Prograis is probably going to hurt Flanagan at some point. It should be a fun fight, but Prograis should outclass Flanagan in this fight, show that he is a level above. And, obviously him and Josh Taylor, seemingly the two guys in that tournament. Manuel Rodriguez versus Jason Maloney, also on the card. We're going to be trying to see sort of how that stacks with it. That one doesn't make as much geographic sense, obviously, but that's still a fantastic fight that I can't wait to see. And again, I love that they're announcing all these dates now. They're rolling it out. This is just, we're not waiting for any time to promote this. No, let's just start it right now. Let's not wait till the last minute. Some news that's, again, a little bit of an obvious worst-kept secret. George Groves versus Callum Smith landing on DAZN. I thought this was announced already. When Rob texted me this, I was like, yeah, duh. This fight's after Joshua versus Povetkin, which is the opening event for DAZN. It would kind of be obvious that you would have Groves versus Callum Smith, a World Boxing Super Series fight on DAZN. But apparently that needed to be made. Apparently only the second season was in the contract per se, or the second season going forward. But yes, just so you know, just for all those in the U.S., George Groves versus Callum Smith will be on DAZN, because apparently that needed to be news. And speaking of news that is kind of like the worst kept secret in boxing, like we already know this, PBC names the Barclay Center as the official East Coast venue, seemingly grabbing some exclusivity to the Barclay Center and vice versa. Yeah, again, news that is kind of not news. Like the Barclay Center and PBC have had a long-standing relationship that's been kind of obvious. Now that they've put sort of pen to paper, it's not really that exciting to me, but it's at least news. Sam Anderson versus Brandon Rios in play for Joshua versus Povetkin. This has been rumored for a while now. It's seemingly close to being materialized and happening. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm conflicted about Brandon Rios even fighting still, but it is what it is. Again, news that we need to address and get to. Santiago, I do see you on the phone line, and you have pressed 1 a while ago, but we honestly don't have that many topics to get through the day, so I'm going to just wait till we're done with the topics, then go to your call. Again, call in 323-870-4051. Or if you want to call in internationally, email me, mixedcombatradio@gmail.com, and I get you an international call-in link. But let's move on. WBC, God, sanctioning bodies, man, what a joke. It's talking about Usyk versus Bellew, and the WBA and their bullshit. The WBC does some more bullshit. So the WBC may create a rule that blocks parents from working a corner. And remember, this is literally 2 days before they have a trainer's belt on the line for Ken Porter and Angel Garcia, two dads of their fighters working in their corner as their lead cornermen. So the WBC, on one hand, is saying, you know what, I don't think parents should be in the corner. and simultaneously saying, you know what, we're going to give a belt to these parents, these 2 ones, because they're really funny. You know, like it's some bullshit. Again, sanctioning bodies be sanctioning bodies. It is what it is. Don't worship any sanctioned body. Don't worship any promoter. They're not here for you. They're here for their own pockets. That's all I really have to say about that. Last boxing topic of the day, per Ryan Sangali, saying just finished a demo of the DAZN USA product. One thing I like, content fights are searchable by fighter. DAZN launches in the USA Monday, September 10th. So September 10th is when it will launch. And just so you can kind of get maybe a closer look at this picture, it looks nice. Like, it kind of reminds me, honestly, of what Tidal looks like. Tidal is a music streaming service by Jay-Z and Rock Nation. This kind of has the same maybe color scheme. Maybe that's what it is about it. You know, the black look to it. That black on white look. It reminds me of just Tidal for some reason. But it looks clean. I like it. Let me know in the chat, in the comment section below, what you think about DAZN. You know, does it look appealing to you? Are you going to buy it? As more news sort of comes out for it, it seems to be interesting. Obviously, if you did not see on the picture, because if you're listening on podcasts, obviously, I believe at some point, all of old Matchroom's library and archive will be on DAZN. It will be released periodically. On that picture, it was all of AJ's fights. So that's kind of news. I'm going to go to Santiago now because it's, we only have, hold on. Only a few MMA topics. Let me run through them really fast. It's kind of a slow day for MMA, actually. Claudia Gadelha meets Nina Anasaroff at UFC 231. Claudia Gadelha should win this one, but Anasaroff has actually been improving fight to fight. Moving on, Antonia Shevchenko, obviously the sister to Valentina Shevchenko, who's fighting this weekend for the flyweight title, will be fighting Ashley Evans Smith at the Tough 28 finale. And I believe that's it. Is that it? Oh, and one thing I want to add, Andrew Yang is a Democrat candidate for the U.S. presidency in 2020. Probably not going to win. But you should go follow him on Twitter at Andrew Yang VFA. He's been a staunch supporter of Leslie Smith, fighter unionization, and just really working from that side of the ballgame, that side of the industry, the political side of it, to exposing a lot of what's happening, helping sort of to support Leslie Smith. And again, I think most hardcore fans here support fighters. Like, hardcore fans, I think, innately know more about what the fighter is going through than maybe the casual fan, obviously. You should be supportive of collective bargaining for fighters, and especially in the UFC when it's such a slam dunk case, in my opinion. And Leslie Smith now really going to court against the UFC. It's all hands on deck here, really, as media, as fans, even as politicians that support it. It's time to help support and elevate collective bargaining, unionization for fighters, because if we do not now, I think we missed a window. I think the last few years have been working towards this window, and however long it is, but we have a window. And Ferngoli saying 38 subs away from 600. Let's get it. That's right. That's right. Tell a friend and tell a friend, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We've hit sort of a slower run now as of late. We hit like 500 really fast, and we've been slowly going now here out. Let's keep pushing. Tell a friend and tell a friend. If you go to gyms, you hang out with buddies that are casual fans of the sport, tell them to go subscribe. You may sound like that annoying friend, but hey, it helps. It does. Word of mouth is the biggest thing to support the show. And, of course, hitting that like button, sharing the show, leaving a review on iTunes podcasts, always the most helpful and free ways to do it. And, obviously, if you want to help monetarily, financially, always appreciative. Patreon.com/MixHummerRadio. For as low as $1 a month, you get free podcasts weekly, free content weekly, and obviously free merchandise too. But we're going to go head out to Santiago to discuss this Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, per split, per amount, Terence Crawford versus Benavidez. And actually kind of a slow day. Fighter IQ, Ellie in the chat, Bayside Boxing, Wayne, Ferngoli, Santiago as well in the chat hanging out, Rod, Big Al, Who else? Who else is there? Nigel, of course, listening. I know Nigel's always listening. Aaron Munoz, Louie, Stewie. It's funny, Louie and Stewie. Anyways, shout out to everyone in the chat. Call in 323-870-4051. Or if you are international, because we do have about 25 to 30% of our listeners are from the UK, are from other places in the world. You can call in internationally and free. Email me, mixsummitradio@gmail.com. You get a permanent free call-in link that you can access for your phone, laptop, iPad, whatever. But anyways, moving over to Santiago. Santiago, you better be ready. Heading over to you. Hope you're having a good day. Santiago?
Yeah, for the most part, just here at work. And, hey, I think somebody over there is taking a cue from the whole 50-50 split from KSI and Logan Paul. Because if these are now semi-confirmed, then I'm only hoping this leads to confirmed eventually, because you know how I feel about these topics. Until I see something official, I could really care less about it for the most part.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and really, a lot of these topics are like formalities instead of news. Some of them are even old news, like the whole WBC rule that parents aren't going to be allowed to work the calls. I'm like, I'm just like, I heard about this way, way back. Like, they're like almost like rehashing this all over again. And it's kind of like, it's very, very weird. Very weird. First the WBA with their whole like interference with the Usyk Bellew fight, that really sucks. And now this, it's just kind of like, please spare us already.
Agreed. Thoughts on Crawford Benavidez?
And then like, oh yeah, I was hella surprised when I woke up this morning and saw that they had made that fight. Benavidez was highly touted, but like his career has not gone the way I thought it could have gone. And against a guy like Crawford, I expect him to get worked the fuck over, if not worse. Like, he's going to be tortured once that bell rings.
It's not going all 12.
A little impressive.
It's not going all 12.
Oh, for a damn well fact, it's not going. I probably won't even go 4. Nah, man, I like Benavidez, but, like, against a guy of Crawford's caliber, he's going to get starched. Hands down, he's going to get starched, man. I don't know. I can't feel good about that fight whatsoever.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that for some reason there's now this real rift between Terence Crawford's side in the welterweight division and PBC's side, when it seemed like they're going to work together more often.
Yeah, it's almost like there's 2 welterweight divisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it's sad, and I hope this doesn't lead to another one of those bullshit things that we dealt with when Golden Boy and Top Rank had their little Cold War shit. But, that's besides the point, and, I definitely hope that the Fighters Union thing really finally comes to fruition. It's something that I've been aware of very keenly ever since you first brought it up to me. And if ever a place needed a union, it's a place for fighters,
Agreed.
For the fighter, by the fighter. And I don't really have much more to say. Really, I was on here mostly for the Crawford Benavidez, but any other thing that you may be curious about, feel free to shoot. Otherwise, I look forward to doing the live fight chat with you on Saturday.
If you were a matchmaker, obviously it seems like Danny and Sean are tied up. If you could be Al Heyman, Bob Arum, if you could be the Don King of 2018, right, and play matchmaker. Sean Porter and Danny Garcia are having their fight. Keith Thurman is playing the flute in Japan. Earl Spence is thinking about Mikey Garcia. What do you do with Terence Crawford?
That's a good question, because a lot of the top names that would have been very attractive for a guy like Crawford are basically out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess really they're just making do with what they can. But Jose Benavidez would not have been my first choice. I could think of maybe trying to put him in with AD just because of the name recognition. He puts butts in the seats, even if we all know he's still going to get the shit beat out of him by Crawford. And really, anybody in the division is going to get their asses beat by Crawford at this point. That's not any of the top-tier names right now. But off the top of my head, I could have thought of AB or even Jesse Vargas, somebody a little with some kind of noteworthiness, because Jose Benavidez, I think this is like his first shot at a title, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, this guy's getting his first shot at a title, and it's like, who has he fought or beat of noteworthiness? I can't think of anybody.
Agreed. Well, Santiago, have a great day. Obviously, I might hear from you tomorrow on the call and on the show, I should say. And obviously, see you Saturday for the live fight chat. That should be fun. I mean, God, I cannot wait for Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. There are a few fights that on paper it seemed like there was zero way for that fight to be unentertaining. It might be controversial. It might be very close. It might be a bad decision. But I don't see a bad fight. I don't see a what's a good analog? I don't see, let's say, a Thurman Garcia situation where you have these guys that are such talented guys, but they sort of nullify each other so much that they don't, they're water and oil, so to speak. I don't see that here. I definitely see these guys matching up almost perfectly, yin and yang status here, where on the inside it's gonna be a good fight. I truly believe that. Quickly though, I do want to a little bit touch on the Adrian Broner idea. I think if you're an Al Heyman type, if you're somebody in control, if you're pulling the strings in the game, it would be awesome if you could put Adrian Broner against all these young guys: Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Terence Crawford, Earl Spence, and use his star power. Give him tune-ups here and there in between, obviously, but that's almost what you would hope for, because right now, Manny Pacquiao doesn't seem like he's going to fight any of these guys. He might fight Amir Khan. That might be the best opponent we can hope for Manny Pacquiao, right? Floyd Mayweather's not going to do anything with any of these guys. Come on. He's going to barely mention their name. Really the only guy that's in this universe, in this galaxy right now at the welterweight division that has any sort of drawing power is Adrian Broner. He transcends the boxing bubble a little bit. So if I'm Al Heyman, if I'm Bob Arum, if I'm Eddie Hearn, I'm trying to get Adrian Broner against all of my welterweights right now, before that star power is faded. Because right now I think he still has some drawing power, even with the losses he's had. He still pulls in numbers online. He does. And even with the guys like Danny, Keith, Terence Crawford, guys that have some drawing power, it would be beneficial to them to fight an Adrian Broner. And again, that seems, to me at least, probably more fantasy matchmaking. Obviously, this is fantasy matchmaking. But hell, that's why we do a show daily, because we have days where we talk about hard news, big fights being announced, etc., and days where we talk about the World Boxing Super Series on DAZN actually having World Boxing Super Series events on DAZN. Like, woohoo, news. It happened. So let's talk about some fantasy. But anyways, that's been it. Another daily edition of the show. Hit the like button on the way out. Share the show. Subscribe. Go to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Be back, obviously, tomorrow. As always, live on YouTube, podcast form, later on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can follow me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. And obviously, Mixed Combat Radio, all platforms as well. Hope everyone has a great day. And again, we do have new merchandise now. We do have shirts. So, if you're on Patreon, as of this point, you will get a free shirt. If you want to get a shirt going forward, you will have to be on Patreon at a certain tier until we get the website up and you can buy them individually and stuff like that. There will be a function of that matter. But anyways, digressing. Have a great day. Peace.